The man always woke before the sun. Not out of obligation, but because the dawn's chill sliced through thin cardboard, shivering him to the bone. The distant hum of the first buses mingled with the scent of fresh bread from bakeries, a cruel reminder that the world was waking up, while he was still just trying to survive within it. Miguel folded his tattered blanket with the precision of a soldier, tucked it into a frayed backpack, and walked to the public fountain. The water was ice. He washed his face, staring at his distorted reflection in a closed shop window, and let out a heavy sigh. One more day, he whispered. No one expected him. No one cared. His reality was built of silence, aimless steps, shy coins in his palm, and the suffocating weight of being invisible. Every afternoon, he sat in front of the public hospital. Not by chance. He sought the wail of sirens. It made him feel that, somewhere, someone was still fighting to stay alive. At night, he retreated to his sanctuary, under an old marquee where the wind bit less. There, he slept. And there, every night, he mourned the life he had lost, and questioned the life he didn't yet know if he deserved. Before the pavement, Miguel had a home. A wife. A young son who called him a hero. It all collapsed when the factory shutters closed for good. Then came the bills, the wounded pride, the arguments, and the numbing embrace of alcohol. Hard words turned into domestic silence, and silence turned into failure. The last image burned into his mind was his wife at the doorway, clutching their boy. "You can't stay here like this anymore." He walked out with nowhere to go. Days bled into months, months into years. Shame became his shelter, fear became his routine. Every night, while the city slept, Miguel relived the sound of that door closing behind him. A thin, persistent rain fell, as if the sky itself were exhausted. Miguel was heading toward the hospital, his soaked clothes clinging to his thin frame, when he saw a boy slumped near a bus stop. His face was waxen, lips tinged blue, eyes half open as if waving goodbye to the world. People hurried past. Some averted their eyes, others glanced quickly, fueled by the fear of getting involved. No one stopped. Miguel felt his stomach drop. He knelt beside the boy, feeling for a pulse. It was thready, a faint flutter. His breath came in ragged gasps, like a candle flickering in a gale. "Hey, stay with me," he urged. Without a second thought, Miguel sprinted to the hospital entrance, slipping on the slick pavement, screaming for help. Medics rushed out with a stretcher. A doctor began chest compressions, another administered oxygen. In seconds, they vanished into the corridors. Miguel stood there, drenched and trembling, wondering if he had done enough. Hours later, a woman emerged, her eyes swollen with tears. She hugged him as if he were her own kin. "You saved my son," she sobbed. Miguel only nodded. But something deep inside him had been violently jolted awake. He wasn't invisible. He still mattered. In the following days, Miguel's eyes sharpened. He began to notice those who looked faint, those who stumbled, those who carried a silent plea for help in their posture. He started helping instinctively, calling for help, offering water, holding trembling hands. One of the doctors eventually recognized him. "Do you live around here?" "I do." "Why?" Miguel paused. "Because someone needs to stay when everyone else leaves." At night, lying on his cardboard bed, the conflict raged. Who was he to save anyone when he couldn't save his own family? Who was he to care for the world when his own world was shattered? But every time he thought of quitting, he remembered the boy's first deep breath of recovered life. And so, he stayed. The night felt endless. The wind howled between the skyscrapers like an ancient lament. Miguel wandered aimlessly after being chased away from his usual spot. Every step was agony. His feet were soaked, his knees weak, his stomach hollow. But his heart was heavier. He stopped at a deserted corner, sat on the curb, and let his backpack drop. The streetlights flickered, and for a moment, he felt his own existence was doing the same. Fragile, unstable, nearly extinguished. The memory of his wife returned in full color. Her tired voice. The boy clinging to her leg. The closing door. I ruined everything. He sobbed. The tears came hot, mixing with the rain. No one was there to see, no one to judge. Just him and the wreckage of a life that felt beyond repair. He thought about disappearing, about not waking up. But then, like a silver thread in the dark, he remembered the boy on the ground and the mother's trembling hand. If I hadn't stopped, that thought anchored him. Trembling, but alive, he sat there until the sky turned gray. He was still broken, but he was still there. When the sun finally peeked through the clouds, Miguel walked back to the hospital. He didn't know why, he just knew he belonged there. He sat on his usual bench. A doctor approached him slowly. "You didn't leave yesterday." Miguel shook his head. "I couldn't." The doctor smiled faintly. "Good. You have something they don't teach in medical school." "What's that?" "Attention, presence, compassion." Those words weren't grand, but they echoed inside him like a candle lit in a dark room. For the first time in years, Miguel felt there might be a place for him in the world. He began to observe more, ask more, learn more. He scavenged discarded pamphlets and old books, talking to nurses during their breaks. He learned to spot dehydration, the signs of a stroke, the precursors of a heart attack. Small things that meant everything. At night, he whispered to himself, "It's not too late." And for the first time, he believed it. Change didn't arrive with applause, it arrived with fear. When an NGO invited him to help, Miguel almost said no. He felt unworthy. But he went. He started small, moving boxes, organizing lines, assisting in emergencies. Then came the courses. Then the certifications. Then the responsibility. He made mistakes, he faltered, but he got back up. One night, looking at his hands, he realized they no longer shook. There was steadiness. There was purpose. Years later, Miguel was leading the program, training ordinary people, drivers, students, the elderly, to save lives. The project exploded. Investors came. Miguel never forgot the streets. He built shelters, support centers, and mobile emergency teams. Money followed, but what grew most was something no bank could hold: peace. The reunion with his son wasn't planned. It just happened. Miguel recognized the face before he even heard the voice. "Dad." The world stopped. There was no speech, no explanation good enough. Only an embrace that held years of absence. They sat on a park bench. They spoke little at first, then a torrent. They cried. They forgave. They laughed at old ghosts. Nothing was erased, but everything began to heal. Miguel met his daughter-in-law, his grandkids, the life that had moved on without him. It ached, but it also warmed him. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. Today, Miguel wakes early, not out of necessity, but out of gratitude. He walks through the city, knowing that every person carries an invisible battle. When he passes the old marquee, he always stops. He touches the ground. He closes his eyes. That is where the man he is today was born. He takes a deep breath and smiles, understanding a simple truth. No one is lost as long as they are still breathing. And every new beginning starts when someone decides to stay. Esta verso expandida aprofunda a conexo emotional, explorando a psicologia por tras de dor y de esperanza, mantendo o estilo de oratoria motivational y acogedora. A new dawn, beyond the shadows. If you've made it this far, it wasn't by accident. Perhaps, as you followed Miguel's journey, you weren't just listening to a story. You were navigating the corridors of your own soul. In the silence between my words, you might have been reliving chapters of your own life that you tried to bury long ago. We are all Miguel at some point. We have all looked at our hands and felt they were empty. We have all stood in the rain of our own failures, watching the world move on while we felt anchored to the ground. We felt tired, lost, and worse, invisible. There is a specific kind of pain in being surrounded by millions of people and feeling like a ghost, a shadow of who you used to be. You might think you've made too many mistakes, that you've burned too many bridges, or that the train of opportunity has already left the station, leaving you behind on a cold, deserted platform. But the truth, the one they almost never tell us, is that no one is lost forever. Human life is not a straight line, it is a landscape of mountains and valleys. We are conditioned to believe that our lowest point is our final destination, but that is the greatest lie of all. Your lowest point is not a grave, it is a foundation. The life you have left is not defined by how deep you fell, but by the courage it takes to plant your feet on that rock bottom and decide not to stay there. Maybe today you are in your own cold dawn. You might be facing a period where fear weighs 10 times more than hope, where the mortgage of your mistakes feels too high to pay, and the future looks like a thick fog you'll never pierce. You feel your strength is small, almost microscopic. And yet, listen, can you feel it? You are still breathing. That rhythmic expansion of your chest is proof that the universe hasn't given up on you yet. Your heart is a drum beating a message of resilience. This means your story is still being written. The ink hasn't dried. The most beautiful chapter of your life might be the one that starts right after the one that almost broke you. What Miguel teaches us, without ever uttering a single word of theory, is something revolutionary. You don't need to have everything figured out to take the next step. In our modern world, we are told we need a 5-year plan, a perfect resume, and a clear mind before we move. But in the trenches of real life, all you need is the next 60 seconds of courage. You don't need to be perfect to deserve a second chance. Perfection is for statues, and you are a living, breathing, evolving soul. You don't need to understand why the storm happened to start rebuilding the house. Sometimes, the greatest victory isn't a grand achievement, it's simply the decision to stay. To stay for one more day. To stay for one more attempt at a dream you thought was dead. To stay for one more spark of hope, even if it's as small as a firefly in a forest. Transformation often starts in total silence. Maybe today, your next step isn't a giant leap. Maybe it's the quiet act of forgiving someone who doesn't deserve it, just so you can stop carrying their weight. Or perhaps, and this is often the hardest, it's the act of forgiving yourself. It's looking in the mirror and saying, you did the best you could with the broken tools you had. Maybe you need to reach out and ask for help, breaking the pride that kept you isolated. Or maybe you just need to sit in the stillness and recognize that surviving is, in itself, an act of bravery. To endure the night and still be there when the sun rises is a triumph that deserves respect. If there is one thing this story wants to whisper to your heart, it's this: you are not late. You are not behind some invisible schedule of success. You are exactly where you need to be to begin again. As long as there is breath, there is the raw material for a miracle. As long as there is a tomorrow, there is a brand new path that didn't exist yesterday. Do not underestimate the power of a small decision made on a difficult day. Choosing to be kind to yourself when you feel like a failure is a revolutionary act. It can be the first domino in a chain of events that leads you to a life you can't even imagine right now. Miguel didn't know he would save a city when he was shivering under a marquee, he just chose to stay alive. If this journey touched a nerve, if it brought a tear to your eye or a sigh of relief to your chest, I would truly love to hear from you. We are building a community of stayers. Write in the comments which part of Miguel's struggle felt like your own. By sharing your story, you might be the light that guides someone else out of their own darkness. Subscribe to this channel to keep walking with us. We don't just tell stories here, we build a sanctuary against the noise of a world that wants you to feel small. We are here to remind you of the truth that society tries to drown out. You matter. Your struggles are valid. Your pain is real, but your potential is infinite. Your new beginning isn't a fantasy, it's a choice waiting to be made. If you know someone who is currently in their own midnight, someone whose light is flickering, please share this video with them. Be the person who reaches out when the world pulls away. Sometimes, a story is the only medicine that can reach a heart that has closed itself off. Be the voice that whispers, "Stay. There's still time. It's not over yet." Thank you for your time, for your presence, and for your heart. May your next morning feel a little lighter, your burden a little softer, and your hope a little louder. And never, ever forget, No one is lost as long as they are still breathing.